I began working on this portrait with a sketch, using the finished painting as a reference to convey its overall mood and the model's facial features. I used a B2 pencil and an eraser, allowing me to vary the softness of the lines and the depth of the strokes. First, I outlined the shape of the head, determining the centerline and proportions of the face, paying attention to the symmetry of the eyes and the position of the lips. Then I added the outlines of the hat and shoulders to establish compositional balance. After that, I began detailing, defining the contours of the hair, thick eyebrows, and the direction of the gaze. I erased unnecessary strokes with an eraser, achieving clean lines and a light, airy feel. The main goal was not to copy the original literally, but to convey a sense of the model's character and inner light, preserving the liveliness of her gaze and slightly pensive expression. The sketch became the basis for further color experimentation. Once the outlines were ready, I began the most exciting part, coloring. For this piece, I used acrylic paints and 3 brushes, a fine, a medium, and a slightly larger than medium one, to vary the brush strokes and color transitions. I painted in the following order: face, clothing, hair, small details, and background. First, I tackled the face. I wanted to preserve the naturalness of the skin, but add a touch of artistic refinement. So I used soft yellowish and greenish tones, subtly shading to blue under the hat's shadow. A fine brush helped me carefully define the contours of the nose, lips, and eyelids. It was especially important to highlight the eyes. They became the focal point of the composition. For them, I used a vibrant blue with white highlights, creating a lively gaze. I made the lips a rich red to contrast with a muted complexion and draw attention. Next, I moved on to the clothing. Here, I decided to use a bold combination of purple, blue, and turquoise shades, allowing them to freely blend into one another. Using medium and large brushes, I created smooth movements of color, as if the fabric were reflecting light and air. These brushstrokes added dynamism and vibrancy to the work, contrasting with the calmer face. Then I moved on to the hair. I wanted it to look natural without losing its decorative quality. I mixed olive, marsh, and ochre tones, adding individual strands of dark green paint. On top, I lightly applied black lines with a thin brush to emphasize the hair structure and the direction of the light. This gave the hair depth and texture. Once the main elements were ready, I added smaller details, accents on the pupils, subtle shadows along the cheeks, and subtle highlights on the lips and forehead. These nuances brought the portrait to life and gave it expressiveness. Lastly, I worked on the background. For it, I chose a mixture of cool tones, violet, ultramarine, and blue. I applied paint with a wide brush, creating smooth yet textured strokes that create a subtle movement and enhance the depth of the composition. This background emphasizes the subject's inner peace, as if she were in a moment of silence and reflection. Ultimately, all the elements merged into a cohesive, slightly surreal composition, where lines and colors interact, creating a balance between reality and fantasy. The work is emotional, with elements of Art Nouveau and pop art, while still retaining its individuality. Critical assessment of the painting. In this painting, I managed to convey the character and inner state of the model, a slight thoughtfulness combined with confidence. The eyes are a success. They glow, creating a sense of presence. The color combinations of the clothing and the background add depth and unusual harmony to the work. The contrasting lines work well, lending the drawing a graphic expressiveness. However, there are some areas that could be improved. The face looks a bit flat in some areas. More shadow transitions and soft tones could be added to convey volume. The hair could be made slightly lighter at the top to enhance the lighting effect. I would also add more detail to the background, perhaps subtle textured brushstrokes or symbolic elements to make the space around the subject more vibrant. The painting's style aligns with contemporary portrait expressionism with elements of pop art and neo-graphism. It will appeal to those who appreciate bright colors, free line work, emotional imagery, and artistic boldness. This work combines sensuality and strength, femininity, and independence, so the viewer can sense her personal history and character through her gaze.